Dr. Doug Gleddie, whoa, husband, dad, educator, academic, world traveler, and friend. So many ideas are always floating with Doug. He has those great ideas, he's got great stories, he's an inspiration, and he's really good at identifying some initiatives that can be done as well. So in our case, we're here today, and as he is, I'll call him the founder of Shaping the Future. This conference, he had the vision of creating an environment that modeled and embedded a comprehensive school health approach to provide that experiential, educational experience for everyone in attendance. And I'm confident that that experience has transferred to you. Is that accurate? I've known Doug for over six years. Well, we've worked together starting 6 years ago, but knew him before that. And it's very fitting to have him here today at our 5th annual Shaping the Future conference to do our wrap-up keynote. Please bring up Dr. Doug Gleddie.
All right. So, first of all, we need to wake up a little bit. And I'll just let you know I'm a little nervous because I'm using 2 separate pieces of technology. Normally I don't use anything except for maybe some pictures, so we'll go with that. But I know some of you are still eating, but we just want to get you up and moving just a little bit. You're not going to run around the room or anything, so just on your feet. Some of you have done this before. Okay, so the way this works. Are you familiar with the song Head and Shoulders, Knees and Toes? Yes. Are you familiar with the tune? Yes. Okay, don't be, because we're not using that tune. Okay, we'll use the actions for head and shoulders, knees and toes, except for in reverse. And we're going to use the tune from If You're Happy and You Know It. Clap your hands. We good with that tune? Yeah. Okay, and it's a natural progression, so it's not that hard. I'm alive.
I'm alive. I'm alive.
I'm awake.
I'm awake.
I'm alert.
I'm alert.
I'm enthusiastic.
I'm enthusiastic.
Okay, and yeah. Woo, okay. I won't say anything. So it works like this. You're just going to touch your toes. I'm alive, awake, alert, enthusiastic. And we'll sing the song. Be careful, there's a little twist partway through, so just watch for it. Okay, are we ready? I'm going to step away from the mic because you don't want to hear me sing. Okay, you ready? I'm alive, awake, alert, enthusiastic. I'm alive, awake, alert, enthusiastic. I'm alive, awake, alert. I'm alert, awake, alive. I'm alive, awake, alert, enthusiastic. One more time, same speed. I'm alive, awake, alert, enthusiastic. I'm alive, awake, alert, enthusiastic. I'm alive, awake, alert. I'm alert, awake, alive. I'm alive, awake, alert, enthusiastic. Triple time, ready? I'm alive, awake, alert, enthusiastic. I'm alive, awake, alert, enthusiastic. I'm alive, awake, alert. I'm alert, awake, alive. I'm alive, awake, alert, enthusiastic. Woo! Nicely done. So, I'm officially starting my time because I've learned it's always good to let people go early. So, starting my time. So first of all, just thanks to the Everactive Schools team and the conference organizing committee and everyone there, and I know we've given them rounds of applause, but just a question. How many people in this room have been involved in planning a conference, a teachers' convention, a something or other? Something or other. Of course there are, because you're leaders. So you know what kind of work it takes to pull something like this off, especially in a remote location with a ton of people. So just a quick hand for those folks. And the next thing I wanted to do, and I know some of you have heard this little story before, so I'll keep it quick, but I did notice that when Dave Rodney asked yesterday, the Honorable Dave Rodney asked yesterday if how many new people there were quite a lot. So I was going to put up a little copy of my CV and show all my qualifications, but the best qualification I've ever heard and ever had given to me was by a grade 4 student who we were working together at a table, and the grade 4 student I won't go on all, we were looking at reverse lunch, flip-flop lunches, things like that. We went through a process. They had suggestions, I had suggestions. I gave a little suggestion that kind of helped get them over a hump, is how I'll put it. It's a short form. And this little girl sitting beside me, there's two grade 4 boys, 2 grade 4 girls, and their teacher, Randy Kish from Olds. And the little girl looks at me, kind of looks at her stuff. She looks at me, says, you know what? You got a small head, but your brain works okay. So, that's my qualifications. Small head, brain works. Okay. So what I want to do a little bit, and I struggled a lot with what to do in this presentation because Brian and I had talked about what to do, and we wanted a bit of a reflective piece because this is the 5th year of the conference. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to go through a 3-step process of remember, live, and shape. So we'll start with some remembrances. So if this works, excellent. So remembering the past, so in the first conference, this was the director of Everactive Schools. Yeah. That's your mental picture for your drive home. There you go. And now, and I couldn't get a better picture to load, so I had to go this one. And now we've moved to this handsome dude as the director. And notice, he's more important because he's wearing a tie. Okay, this is more important. That's good. I did a little rundown of the stats because stats are important. So back in 2010 when we first started this, we had 6 staff, okay? Not all of them full-time. The program booklet, which I brought, but I left in my backpack, so that's okay, was 6 pages long. I did it in Word, and then I turned it into a PDF and we shipped it off to the printer, and bada boom, bada bing, we had a program. There were 19 sessions offered. We had 3 sponsors, 6 exhibitors, and 140 delegates, and we were pleased as punch because we wanted to make this happen. Shifting gears to now, 11 staff on Everactive, 28 pages of goodness in the program, 36 stellar sessions, 16 sponsors, 16 exhibitors, and 400 plus delegates. Yeah, absolutely. When I looked at the past and I looked at now, one thing stayed the same. And Joyce mentioned this already, stealing my points. What we want to see for the future, we still want to shape the future. We still have that vision of doing things in a way that is suitable and appropriate and coherent with comprehensive school health. And we have, and we are, and that vision is there. And I want to say a number of people have said, oh, this is the conference that Doug started. The only thing I'll take credit for is the name, Shaping the Future. But this conference was the result of years and years and years. Who here was involved at any point in time in the Calgary Rocky View Comprehensive School Health Student Partnership? Yeah, several people. That organization, that system has been going on for a long, long time. Alberta has been a consistent leader in comprehensive school health. So this conference is not somebody's brainchild. It's the opportunity to bring all this stuff together, the opportunity to showcase what we do and learn from each other. And that's where it comes from. Essentially, this is the Alberta Advantage in action. We're doing things, we're doing it well, we're attracting people from outside the province because of the cool stuff that's happening. So that's awesome. But we don't want to dwell in the past either. So we want to take some time and live in the present. And it's an interesting challenge being asked to reflect on a conference that's happening because you really can't write anything until the conference is over. So I was jotting notes all through the conference, different speakers. I talked to people. I just tried to observe. And what I kind of ended up with is essentially a sensory-based observation of what we, perhaps through the eyes of me, but what I think we have experienced in the last 3 days, depending how long you've been here for. Okay? I think the Everactive team has been here for 2 weeks. But so I want to start with sight. What did we see? One of the first things we saw was a woman of dysfunction. Brenda Hertzberg, who is smart, gorgeous, and amazing. I loved her point of including those people who annoy you the most when you're doing the planning. Because really, and I heard this a little while ago, and I really enjoy this little phrase, but you can't be a part of the solution unless you're part of the problem. Kind of makes sense. You have to think about that for a little while. I'll give you a second. Okay, good. So we also saw many, many new faces. And those new faces, I hope, are here to carry this vision on for years to come. We also saw some of the same old faces, which I like old faces, they're good. But those old faces are here with new ideas and a willingness to share. And what I see is those people that I've seen here almost every year at the conference still attending sessions, still writing notes, still learning, and still improving. And that's important. We also saw a crowd on the dance floor that never subsided. They were celebrating life, health, happiness. In fact, this morning at 4 when I started to write all this up together, because I had to, because there's no other time. So I briefly considered, especially when I first hit my alarm twice, snooze, I briefly considered just clearing the tables and just having a dance for the final keynote, because that would have been good. We also heard things. We heard a huge variety of sessions on comprehensive school health. And Mark Schwartz, who's been involved in this province for a long, long time, made a comment to me that I thought was very, very perceptive. She said, you know, at the first conference and even the next couple, what we saw was sessions that were, here's a physical activity session, here's a healthy eating session, here's a positive social environment, mental health session. What we saw, I think, this weekend is here's a comprehensive school health session, and here's a comprehensive school health session, and here's another comprehensive school health session. That's a big, big shift. I'm also starting to see a shift, and I hope we're starting to see a shift from focusing all on events and programs to focusing on just comprehensive school health being the way we do business, because that's what it should be. We also heard laughter, especially from Bill Gordon's session, which is right beside my session, so it's very annoying. But we also sometimes heard nothing. We heard silence, because people were thinking, and people were being impacted by what was going on. We also heard speakers who challenged us and spoke beyond our ears, hearts, and to our minds. We also heard thoughtful, considered conversations, discussions, and sometimes debate, and that's good and that's healthy. We also heard pride in presenters' voices, but what I heard was not pride in their own efforts, but pride in the impact it's having on kids. Frick, Brian. Brian started it with getting choked up at a technology session. Just want to say. Touch. Let's move to touch. Because that'll be less touching. So, and it was interesting, I was looking for an image of this and I just typed in touch. You know what came up the first 50 images? Touch screens. All touch screens. I had to actually type in fingers touching. And I still got touch screens. I got fingers touching between touch. Okay, anyways. We felt things. We felt our hearts swell as we heard example after example of the impact of healthy schools. We felt our minds being challenged, stretched, and engaged. I believe we felt our souls expand. This location here, in the midst of glorious creation, you can't help but have your soul touched. And I saw people just outside, just kind of, okay, that was just me, but other people could have done that. We also felt the touch, or maybe it was more of a punch in the nose, of technology in our lives and the lives of kids from Dr. Phil's presentation. But we also learned a little bit about what we can do about it. And I have to share a quick story. My wife and I, who's here, and I should give a big hand for my wife. Okay, that was really stupid to do in the middle. It's a curse, I tell you. Anyways, I'll try and balance it. So we have not given our kids cell phones until recently. And earlier this year, my son's in grade 11, and I asked him, I said, are you the only kid in your class that doesn't have a cell phone? He's like, nope. Really? He says, no, Dad, I'm the only kid in school. We also felt the humbleness of two amazing award winners who touched the lives of kids in their schools each and every day. Thanks, Dell. Is Dell here still? Oh, way to go, Dell. Marion, is Marion here still? Yes, thanks, Marion. Smell. Now, I admit this was a stretch, but once I was going with my theme, I had to keep going. We smelled coffee. We smelled delicious food. We smelled spruce trees. I think we smelled anticipation in the air on that first day, and I don't think that anticipation has let up. Not really sure what it smells like, but it kind of was going. We also smelled desire, the desire to make a difference, to be the change, and to engage others. And quite honestly, we smelled a bit of sweat during the active breaks and the dance. Okay, maybe a lot during the dance. It was really hot. Taste. I don't even read that from back there, but I liked it. Good mothers, let us lick the beater. Great mothers, turn them off first. So what did we taste? We tasted healthy meals, snacks, and we tasted fresh mountain air. We tasted success through the presentations of those who have made a difference. We tasted eagerness to get back to our context and get going applying what we've learned and experienced. And we tasted tears, much like now. As Riley shared with us, his mind, his heart, and his tie, and his wisdom. Believe in them so much that they believe in themselves. That's all we needed to hear this weekend, really. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but there's a sixth sense. And no, it's not a movie with Bruce Willis. But we have embodied things. We have been things this weekend and this week. And Ken Robinson, in his book, The Element, says, we are all born with extraordinary powers of imagination, intelligence, feeling, intuition, spirituality, and of physical and sensory awareness. And that's really what it means to be embodied. So we've embodied imagination, and that imagination running wild with creativity and passion. We've embodied a sense of physical awareness of snow, ice, pavement, water, and the others around us. We've embodied the idea of establishing boundaries and saving time for stillness in our digital era so that we can take time and have meaningful interactions, as Dr. Phil mentioned to us. And we've also embodied just sheer joy of movement and sheer joy of relationship and connection. So all this is kind of a so what. So we've had 5 years of a conference. But a so what leads to a what now. And I want to share just briefly, I'm at 14 minutes, it should be good, a little bit about a book that's impacted my practice lately, and I think how it can apply to the ongoing vision and mission of this conference. Just drink some water, blow my nose. Be good. So the book is called Free to Learn, and it's actually a pretty brutal condemnation of our educational system. It's written by Peter Gray, who's a developmental psychologist, and he looks at what's called the human educative instinct. So he basically went back to hunter-gatherer days and has looked at the idea that we didn't have to put people in learning situations. We are built to learn. We are. And so one of the key things he shared in his book, and it's a little piece of research that happened in India a number of years ago, and I'll just share it really briefly. But what happened was a researcher there, on a blank wall of one of the worst slums in Delhi, he installed a computer into that wall. Just a computer, keyboard, and then 24-hour video surveillance. No ethical requirements required. So, and what happened is, Within 3 days, every kid within a 3-4 kilometer radius of that computer stuck in the wall was computer literate. And that was defined by being able to open up documents, save, surf the net, go onto Word, do different things, do those kind of things. No adult interaction. And the way that happened is as follows. There's 3 key pieces, and I'll give you them all, and then we'll look into them in detail. The first one is curiosity. And curiosity, and Phil mentioned that too, it's the drive to explore and understand. I don't think there's a person in this room who's not a curious person by nature. And we're all curious in different ways. And I don't mean just your characteristics. The next one is playfulness, and that's the drive to practice and create. No, I'm good. I just wiped my sleeve. Thanks. I read a book once, Things Your Uncles Taught You. That's one of them. Yeah. So playfulness is the drive to practice and create. That's how we play with our curiosity. Okay, we figure out how it works. And the final piece is sociability. And that's that drive to share information and ideas. So those kids in the slum, something stuck in the wall. It wasn't there yesterday. I'm curious. Oh, it turned on. Something happened. Through that process, so they were curious about it, that led them to explore and seek to understand. Then they played with it. With that playfulness, they practiced and they created and they figured things out. And finally, they shared things. There was a sociability, so they shared things back and forth with each other. So for us, when we look at these 3 pieces, and this is where I see us going for the future to continue to do this. 2 quick quotes for you. One is from Eleanor Roosevelt. I think at a child's birth, if a mother could ask a fairy godmother to endow it with the most useful gift, that gift would be curiosity. And then from some guy named Albert Einstein, the important thing is to not stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. One cannot help but be in awe when he or she contemplates the mysteries of eternity, of life, of the marvelous structure of reality. It is enough if one tries to merely comprehend a little of this mystery every day. Never lose a holy curiosity. And I love that term, holy curiosity, because if you look up holy, the broad definition is something worthy of worship or veneration. And we should be looking at that curiosity that way. So I hope for you, you never lose your holy curiosity, because it makes you special, and it helps you learn, and it helps you connect. Playfulness, practicing creating. So Carl Jung stated, the creation of something new is not accomplished by the intellect, but by the play instinct acting from inner necessity. The creative mind plays with the objects it loves. I would go out on a limb and say that you love to make a difference. You love to help assist, improve the health of your children. And by your children, I mean your own and yours in the schools, whether you're in that school or not. So this is how you action your curiosity. Failures are important, and they drive ongoing learning. You have to think of playfulness as the output of your curiosity. What are you doing with that curiosity? Are you making something happen? The last piece is sociability. That's, again, the drive to share information and ideas. And I don't know if there's any Tolkien fans in here or Lord of the Rings. I know it takes like 18 hours to watch the movies, and now we got to have 3 movies. I'll stop. Anyways, I love the toast that Bilbo Baggins gives before he disappears. I don't know half of you half as well as I should like, and I like less than half of you half as well as you deserve. I don't even know what that means. And actually in the comment sections when I was looking this up, people are like, is that an insult or a compliment? And there's a big debate going back and forth. I'm using it as a compliment, just so you know. But basically, we need to take time to get to know people. And we need to listen to their ideas, and not just wait until they're done talking so we can share our ideas, but listen to those ideas. Essentially, this is what a conference is about, being sociable. You go off and be curious, you go off and you be playful, and you come here, and other places, but you come here with the intent of being sociable, of learning from others. And I hope to see a lot of the new people who are here for the first time this year, back another year, presenting, because you've had that time to be playful in between. Now, I'm sorry the next photo is a bit of a gratuitous shot. Don't worry, it's not as bad as the wetsuit, don't worry. But I'm not a big celebrity person. I don't go out and get autographs. but these people here I had to have my picture with. So I don't know how many of you were in the session with the Duffield School SWAT team. Best name ever, so the SWAT team. And I believe, unless I messed it up in my notes, that that's the School Wellness Action Team. Am I right, Duffield folks? So these three ladies are Lindsay, Jessica, and Sarah. And I know not everyone could be in the session. But did you know that these ladies believe in you? Ciao, babe. What's the line there, Curly Fry?
Dead puppies.
Thank you, dead puppies, there we go. Don't ask why, it's a long story. Long story. Thanks, Dirty Bird. Okay, so these ladies believe in you. That's how they finish their session. They believe in themselves, but they also believe in you. And even though we want student leadership and we want student-driven success, we have a role to play because, I don't know if you've noticed, but we're the adults. I didn't notice very much this weekend, but we are the adults. And that's part of our job. So the final thoughts I'll leave you with is this. John Dewey was kind of a huge educational philosopher, and many consider kind of the founder of a lot of what we believe about public education. He classifies education and learning as experience. And what that is this: if you have there's not a good and bad experience, it's educative and miseducative. If you have an educative experience, that means you're going to come back for more. You're going to do it again. If you have a miseducative experience, you're done. So it's our role here to provide educative experiences. It's also our role when we go back to make sure that what we do in our communities, in our schools, and with our kids is educative, so they want more. When I look at those three ladies, they have had phenomenal educative experiences, and I would have no problem saying that they're going to go on and do great things. So be curious, be playful, and be sociable, and continue to shape the future. What the heck, that wasn't even anything emotional. Thank you very much. I expect some emotion. Hey, just a little. Thank you.
Better than I thought.
All right. Perfect.
Only the fun
Just before I thank Doug, if you still have your name tag in your pouch, please give it to Tanya. I just want to put that in there. Wow. Doug, thank you so much for presencing the fact that we came, we learned, we laughed, we played, and as Jackie usually says, we partied. I don't do it very well, but she does. Obviously, I should get her to come up here and say it, but thank you. A lot of it as well, we've had our minds and our hearts captivated. Such a great message from such a small head, but the brain's working okay. I could sit and listen to Doug all day, but you know, when you work for him, it's a little different. I'm kidding. I do thank you, Doug, from the bottom of my heart. I have learned so much from you, and every time you come into a room, you light it up, and you connect with people, and you know people, and I just want to thank you for carrying the torch for all of us. So a round of applause.